Jersey needs to ensure that its physical infrastructure is world-class, its role as a transportation hub unmatched.
Well, back to hardball. That was New Jersey Governor Christie, of course, back in 2012, vowing to maintain his state's infrastructure. Well, now Governor Christie has another bridge problem. So does the rest of the country, actually, beyond what happened with the George Washington Bridge problem. This year, New Jersey's Transportation Commissioner closed several bridges that are at risk of falling down. And he says 500 more bridges need repairs across the state of New Jersey. Well, when it comes to aging infrastructure, it's just another part of a wider problem in the U.S. overall. According to the American Road and Transportation Builders Association, over 60,000 bridges in our country, across the country, are structurally deficient, which means dangerous in some places and certainly in need of repair. As the New York Times reported today, New Jersey's Transportation Trust Fund is running out of money, and Chris Christie, who's a likely 2016 candidate for president, of course, isn't acting to fix the problem. And many voters in that state of Jersey support an increase in the gas tax to simply finance the transportation improvements which are needed. 50% of the people who were asked, they said to support an increase, which is up from 35% in 2010. Politically, it's difficult for a Republican, of course, to raise taxes if he wants to be president. I'm joined right now by New Jersey State Assemblyman John Wisniewski, who joins us from a structurally deficient bridge in Dover, New Jersey, that's been shut down. We're also joined right now by MSNBC political analyst and former Pennsylvania Governor Ed Rendell. I want to go to Mr. Wisniewski right now. Is this something that's noticeable to drivers in the state of Jersey, that these bridges are rickety?
Well, we see this bridge behind us, but there are countless other bridges around the state that are substantially in danger and need to have immediate work done to them. The problem is the money's not there. Our Transportation Trust Fund is virtually out of money. It's being put together for one more year, really with duct tape and glue. But there's really no long-term planning here. And this is what you get when you don't fund transportation. You get roads closed like this. And this is not just a road in isolation. I'm down here in Dover. This is the middle of the downtown. This is a major road. This affects the people who live here. This affects quality of life. So this isn't some esoteric exercise in governance. This is affecting people's daily commutes, how the shopkeepers keep their stores open, how the local government functions is all a function of our Transportation Trust Fund.
Governor Rendell, you know how you can tell you're in a developing or third world country? They don't fix anything. Everything just gets older and more run down. There's no improvements. It's basically, in many cases, like it was during colonial times, the same bridges, the same roads, only broken up and beat up and old, and nobody ever builds anything because they're strapped for money. What's our excuse?
Well, we have no excuse. Nationally, our Congress and our government is just afraid to act and afraid to raise revenue when that's one of the answers. We have to invest in maintaining a safe and sound and economically competitive infrastructure. But the states are stepping up. Interestingly, all around New Jersey, states are stepping up, Chris. New Jersey has the second lowest gas tax in the country, 14.5 cents a gallon, compared to New York, 45 cents a gallon. California, 46 cents a gallon. Pennsylvania, 50 cents a gallon. And talk about red state governors and red state legislatures. Listen to who's raised the gas tax in the last year. Georgia, Idaho, Iowa, South Dakota, Utah, and Wyoming. All states with red Republican governors, Republican legislators. Governor Christie should do the right thing and make a significant increase in New Jersey's gas tax, and make it now. Don't wait. Make it now. You can't starve infrastructure. Something serious is going to happen.
I first smelled trouble back in the beginning of Christie's term when I was sort of rooting for him because I thought his personality was rather familiar to me growing up in Philly. And I noticed he didn't want to build that third tunnel going into New York. I said, why wouldn't a guy want to speed one of the great advantages of Jersey, which is transportation, where a lot of the money comes from? What did that mean to you, Mr. Wisniewski, when he just said, I'm not going to build the tunnel, we're not going to improve traffic relationship with New York City, which is one of the most important traffic hubs in the world, your state?
Well, the first thing a leader should do is to make sure the infrastructure that leader's responsible for is functioning well and can provide the services that the people he represents need. What the governor did was an abrogation of leadership. He saw the money that was earmarked for the tunnel. He knew he didn't have the courage to raise the funds necessary for the trust fund, so he canceled the tunnel to grab that money to shore up his failing transportation trust fund. It was a failure of leadership, and I mean, that's a problem we in New Jersey have to deal with every day. His failure of leadership And it's amazing to me that he thinks that that audition for leadership and that failure of leadership in New Jersey is something that the nation needs. It's absolutely ridiculous.
Well, a majority of New Jersey voters, 53%, approve of building a third rail tunnel from New Jersey to New York, and that's according to a Quinnipiac poll just last December. By the way, the existing pair of tunnels, both which are 105 years old, are in dire need of repair. Governor Rendell, I want to get back to that word. I don't think infrastructure grabs people. I wish there was another word we could all come up with. But it seems to me most Americans who don't take the subway or the L in big cities spend an hour in the morning going to work, maybe more, an hour more coming home every night. They spend a good part of their day on roads and on bridges. Why don't they put the pressure on the piles to do something about bringing those up to date and safe?
Well, Americans do. It's interesting, Chris, when we have to vote on transportation referendums that call for increases in taxes or tolls or borrowing, voters approve 75% of the transportation referendums that are on the ballot. They distrust the federal government, but even that's starting to erode. When we see what happened at Amtrak, you know, Amtrak, the curves in the track bed are very dangerous, but there are 7 bridges that Amtrak trains between Boston and New York ride over that are over 100 years old. The recommended lifespan for a bridge is 40 years. We are courting disaster by not acting. Slowly but surely, infrastructure is catching on, and the American people understand it's for our safety, our quality of life, our economic competitiveness. And by the way, Chris, every politician talks about middle-class jobs. If we went on an infrastructure revitalization program nationwide, we'd create 4 or 5 million well-paying jobs.
I'm with you so much, Governor. I think those are the kind of jobs we need. Those are jobs for people willing to work hard. It's a great opportunity to really build this country, rebuild the working ethic of this country, to have real jobs they're proud to come home from. Thank you very much, Assemblyman John Wisniewski and former Governor Ed Rendell of Pennsylvania.